As the new Omicron variant gets detected in different parts of the world, governments are rushing to get the unvaccinated inoculated and the vaccinated to get a booster jab. Germany has announced that it will be imposing sweeping curbs on people who are not vaccinated against COVID-19 to combat the surge in cases. The outgoing chancellor, Angela Merkel, said that compulsory vaccinations seem appropriate given the situation. Merkel, her designated successor Olaf Scholz, and leaders of the 16 states met again on Thursday to discuss the tougher measures. Now, the plans include a blanket ban on entering venues including bars, restaurants and cinemas for anyone who has not been vaccinated or recovered from COVID-19. The unvaccinated will also be barred from Christmas markets and can only meet a limited number of people. Merkel said that culture and leisure activities will only be open to those who have been vaccinated or have recovered. Fireworks will also be banned on New Year's Eve to stop large crowds from gathering. Germany is following Austria and is soon going to be voting on making vaccines compulsory.
Eine allgemeine Impfpflicht soll im Deutschen Bundestag diskutiert und entschieden werden. Dazu bitten Bund und Länder den Ethikrat, sich bis Jahresende eine Empfehlung zu erarbeiten. Und dann kann diese allgemeine Impfpflicht könnte bei entsprechender Entscheidung greifen, etwa ab Februar 2022. Das heißt, wäre ich im Deutschen Bundestag, könnte ich sagen, dass ich mich dafür aussprechen würde. Also auch dafür stimmen würde. Und ich glaube, wir haben alle gehofft, dass die Freiwilligkeit hier besser angenommen wird.
The incoming Chancellor Olaf Scholz, who is going to inherit this crisis, had this appeal for those who are resisting the vaccine.
Sich diejenigen noch durchringen, sich impfen zu lassen, die das bisher nicht gemacht haben. Und das ist auch an dieser Stelle mein ganz persönlicher Appell, dass wir alle überzeugen, den Schritt jetzt zu gehen. Es ist wirklich wichtig und wir wissen jetzt endgültig, dass es eine Konsequenz hat, dass ein großer Teil der Bürgerinnen und Bürger sich bisher nicht durchgerungen hat, sich impfen zu lassen.
The decisions highlight the gravity of the situation, with hospitals running beyond their capacity and forced to turn away patients. The country recorded over 73,000 cases in the past 24 hours. Some experts have blamed Germany's fourth wave on its relatively low vaccination rate of just around 68%. While once most EU countries were against mandatory vaccinations, the new COVID-19 wave is making many countries rethink this position. Europe is already in the grip of surging cases, and 79 cases of the new Omicron variant of COVID-19 have been reported in 15 European countries so far. The European Health Agency has warned that in the coming months, the Omicron variant could cause more than half of all the COVID-19 infections in the continent. Let's go straight across now to our correspondent Trent Murray, who is with us from Berlin. Hi, Trent. Tell us more about how soon we expect a decision from the German authorities on making COVID-19 jabs mandatory.
Well, life in Germany is about to get very difficult for people who haven't had a vaccine. Under these new sweeping rules, they will effectively be banned from going to places like restaurants, bars, the cinemas, theatres, even the gym. And that is because Angela Merkel and the government here really wants to try and encourage people to get their shots. And so they think by clamping down on people's access to public spaces, that will compel them to go to the doctor and get their jab. It is, of course, a controversial decision, but it is one that's been made after Angela Merkel convened a meeting of the country's 16 state premiers. They all signed off to agree to this new national plan. And so we do expect those rules to come into force in coming days. Of course, Germany is in the grips of a resurgence of COVID-19 that shows very little sign of slowing down. Just today, we have seen the third highest daily total of new cases, not just this year, but throughout the entire pandemic. pandemic. And I think more concerningly, we are already up to over 1,600 deaths this week. That is certainly concentrating minds both in the parliament behind me and across Germany more broadly. And that is why we are seeing these very strict new measures being announced that target the unvaccinated.
Right. If you can elaborate on the situation on the ground, hospitals in several parts now are under strain given the rising number of cases, some even turning patients away.
Yeah, I mean, this is a repeated message that we are hearing from a number of hospital systems that they are running out of space in their intensive care units, and that if somebody comes in with a stroke or a heart attack or another serious life-threatening condition, that there may be a delay in them getting medical treatment because doctors are busy treating seriously sick COVID-19 patients. I think to give you a sense of just how serious the crisis is becoming, the German Air Force was deployed this week to shuttle patients between hospitals in Germany using a special aircraft that would normally be used to transport injured soldiers from the battlefield. That's how serious things are becoming. And so it's against that backdrop that lawmakers are defending these new measures. The other measure that we could expect as well in coming months is a mandatory vaccination order. Now, if you had have asked me whether that would have happened 6 or 12 months ago, I would have said it would be an impossible thing to see because it's extremely controversial here to make that sort of issue, that sort of order, I should say. But that is where we are heading, because unless countries like Germany boost their vaccination rates, doctors are saying that we are going to continue to be in this dangerous cycle of COVID-19 continuing to surge, especially as you can see, the weather is getting much colder here and people are being forced to stay inside with one another.
Right. Germany's low vaccination rate has been a cause for concern. To what extent can vaccine hesitancy be blamed for this?
Well, look, it is a very good question. I think for a very long time, the German government has been trying to convince people to get their shot. There's been public awareness campaigns, messages from both lawmakers and health officials trying to encourage people to get their vaccine. But you are right, Germany does still have amongst the lowest vaccination rate in Western Europe. And I think that has left many people scratching their heads trying to wonder why it is. Some say that there is a level of distrust in parts of the country of government, especially the former Eastern German states that were formerly under the iron rule of communism before the 1990s. Some memories lingering about government mandates there and distrust running. That is certainly one issue, but I think also possibly Germany has had a bit of a light touch when it comes to rules on vaccination people in terms of going to public places. I think now that's why we're starting to see them tighten the screws a little bit, kind of taking the stick approach rather than the carrot approach, and they're hoping that by doing that they'll be able to push those vaccination rates up higher to where they need to be.
Trent Murray getting us those updates from Berlin. Thanks very much for the moment. WION now available in your country. Download the app now. Get all the news on the move.